Today's episode is brought to you by...
Is your business registered? Need a loan but no business plan? MYO Biz Business Consulting Services, your one-stop shop for all business consulting needs, and MYO Biz Errand Runner Delivery Service. Need fast food or grocery delivered in Westmoreland? Call us at 798-6493. MYO Biz, it's our business to help you mind your own business.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Catchup. And right now we're in season 5. Can you believe that season 5? And today our guest is Dr. Christine Thomas Bell. Christine, so at school they knew you as Christine Thomas?
Christine Thomas, yes.
But now she's Dr. Christine Thomas Bell. And I have to put it in because she worked for that title. I'm sure it wasn't easy to juggle everything to get to that place.
Yeah.
All right. So, Christine, which year did you graduate from Manning's?
Graduated from Manning's in 1992.
1992. Did you have colors that time, like blue, green, yellow in your year group when you graduated?
Colors started when I was in third form. So I was in 1F, 2F, I think 3T, and then we went up to colors. So
and
fourth
then you went
the colors.
So 5. So we were in class of 5. What color?
Red.
You're in 5 red. Oh, the bright. Sorry, we call it. We look up nerd bright people then.
For the rainbow, right? So we called it. I think when we were in fourth form, we were in that room across from the art room.
Yes.
That was our form room, and it was so hot in there, we'd call it the 4 Red Bakery. So, I don't know if anybody remembers that.
Oh my gosh. Well, I hope if you do, please comment if you remember the 4 Red Bakery.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. So you're going to give everyone just a high-level overview from graduation till today. What have you been up to?
Okay, so finished form in 1992.
Mm-hmm.
Forced to go to sixth form. I did not want to go to sixth form, but my parents said you need to go to sixth form. So I went to sixth form for 2 years. And usually you think that's a waste of time, but I thought it was a time when I became more mature and it developed my leadership skills as a prefect. Then I went on to Montego Bay Community College for 1 year. I did the first year of the University of Technology program.
Mm-hmm.
Went to UTech second and third year. So while I was there, I majored in marketing and sales, left UTech, went to work with super clubs. So while I was at Manning's and at UTech, I worked at super clubs during my summers. So at the end of UTech, I was hired and I worked as a trainee manager for a year, finished the program in a year. Then I was appointed public relations and sales manager for Breezes Montego Bay. Then I decided, okay, I want to move to the United States. Moved to Florida. I worked with the Radisson Bahia Mar Beach Resort as a sales administrative assistant. I knew I couldn't start out in a management position. So I'm like, okay, I'll just start somewhere and develop my skills. Move into management. Worked in the hotel for a couple of years till September. The events of September 11 pushed me into education. Never ever wanted to be a teacher. Got into education, loved it, and I have been in education since then.
Wow.
Yeah, since 2001. And I moved from Florida to Texas in 2012. My husband's job moved in here, so we are now based in Fort Hood, Killeen, Texas.
Wow. I have a sister that lives there too. Her name is Kesania. She lives in same area as you. So you are now located in Texas. Tell us about your family.
Family.
Yes, your immediate family.
Husband and 2 children.
Wow. Ages of kids?
The boy is 2.5 and the girl is going to be 9 shortly.
2.5 and ready to be president. He looks like
My daughter is excited because she's almost as tall as I am.
yes.
And we wear almost the same size shoes. So she's like, oh, I can wear your shoes soon.
Wow.
My son is able to read now, so.
So what role do you have now in education?
Okay, so I went into education. Do you want me to start from?
Texas. So in education. Till now. Yeah.
So when I started in education, I was fascinated by special education. And I liked working with the students who were probably low achievers. They have learning disabilities. So that was my focus when I started. I am still in that field, special education. So in Texas right now, I'm working, this year I'm back in special education full-time.
Wow.
And I work with students who are 3 to 4 grade levels behind, and just work with them on learning strategies, anything that we can do to help them to be successful. Work on social skills.
What age group?
11 to 14.
All right. So you are going to pique my interest because I have my 7-year-old, my shadow, that I'm trying to run away from and keep out of this interview. He's autistic.
Okay.
And it has been a journey, and a journey for me and my husband in terms of how we parent. And I was a teacher in Jamaica, so even changing my concept of how people learn and their capabilities and understanding other abilities. His 5 senses work differently from my other kids. He is so in tune to smells, to energy, to nature. If you see him outside and you see him with animals and plants, it's something that is so fascinating to watch. He is in the moment than my other kids.
Yes, and we do a lot of social stories and social skills. I mean, they're usually on point for on academics.
Yeah.
Social part of it, we have to do a lot of work with them on that. And I remember if I had to get a substitute teacher, I had to make sure. There was this one lady that I would always get as a substitute teacher because they do well with consistency.
Yes.
I couldn't get someone who had a very high-pitched voice. Someone who would wear like very strong perfume.
Yes.
There are things that kind of
throw them off.
I had to be very careful when I'm getting somebody else to be in my room to take my place for the day. So I enjoy it though.
You enjoy it. So tell me what you have gotten out of it. And the second part, this is not in catch-up questions. And then I want to ask you for advice for parents with children that has different needs.
Okay, so let me do the advice first.
All right.
Be very patient. I know that sometimes when you go out in public, these children might act a little differently. Ignore people around you who are going to look at your child. Ignore them. You're the parent. You understand your child. You know that sometimes they don't want to be around very loud sounds.
Yes.
Bright lights. And if they act differently when you go out, that's okay.
That's okay.
And we just have to educate the public that not all children are alike. We have children with different abilities, and we just need to love them, have patience, work with them. And what was the other question?
Why did you choose this path, and what does it do for you?
I have a lot of patience, and they need that.
You can't put it in one buckle and send it to me. You can't put it in one like a vitamin tablet. All right.
And I not only work with autistic students, but students with specific learning disabilities. And being specific, it would be reading and math.
Yeah.
Behavioral problems. So You just need to be patient. And I tell my students all the time, if you don't understand something, you can ask me as many times as long as I see that you're paying attention and you're trying, you can ask me over and over. I'll explain it again and again to help you understand. But if you're playing around and, no care in the world, then, I'm going to have a problem with that. But it takes a lot of patience because there are lots of things that you have to repeat.
Yes.
There are specific strategies that I use, especially when teaching reading.
Yes.
I've had students who have come to me with, I can remember in Florida, there was one student, his mom said, you know what, the doctor said your child is not going to read. And I worked with him and I used a special reading program and we worked and worked and worked and he was probably up to like a 3rd grade level. He was in the 8th grade or 7th or 8th grade at the time. But we got him up to read at a 3rd grade level, which was good. That was a big milestone for him. And those are the things that are, for me, it's better than a paycheck.
Wow. That
And
sounds extraordinary.
During my journey in education, I did a principal's program. And when I was done with the program, I was like, you know what? I want to be in the classroom.
Wow.
I leave the classroom several times, but being in the classroom is home for me. I like being on the ground with the kids. And then recently, I said to myself, you know what? People keep telling me you need to be in leadership. But yeah, I've juggled being in leadership and being in the classroom at the same time. And recently I said, okay, I did a program on to become an educational diagnostician. So that gives me a chance to work with the kids and do some sort of administration in special education. So that's where I am right now.
Understood. So what do you do to relax and to re-energize or to heal your soul when you give so much out?
I do crafting.
Yes. Sorry, I can't keep my face because I go back to your Facebook post. Go ahead.
1 o'clock in the morning. 2 o'clock in the morning. A lot of my Facebook friends know that I'm up early in the morning or late at night, and I'll do crafting.
You like Hobby Lobby?
Oh, yes.
Just a little bit.
I go to Hobby Lobby all the time. I go to Hobby Lobby, Michael's, Joann's.
See your post on Facebook in terms of how excited you are to go.
Yes, love Hobby Lobby.
And when they have a sale or when something's going on, but your memes are like everything to do with craft and your passion around that.
The other thing I like to do, I like to be outside in the garden, and I usually am outside on Sunday mornings.
Yeah.
Early morning, taking care of, I want to have the greenest grass on the street, so.
Are you a lawn snob? I call us for lawn snobs. Where yours is immaculate.
I'm number 2 on my street right now.
Oh my gosh, that is hilarious. My husband is a lawn snob, so that's why.
And I plant roses.
Yes.
Recently, I've encouraged my daughter to do, we have scallion, thyme, beet, and carrots. The carrots didn't do so well.
Yeah.
In the backyard, so we'll see. We're just, I'm trying to get her involved in
gardening.
Things other than playing video games.
All right. We're going to go back to Manning school days. Majority of the people participating in Catchup went to Manning's. So you're going to talk about your favorite teacher, subject, and memories. Who was your favorite teacher at Manning's?
Favorite in terms of what? I'm thinking of...
You have to qualify what favorite is.
Hold on. Cliff Myrie.
Yes.
Dark and handsome.
Yes.
The first form.
You never missed a day of school. You were very attentive.
Still gorgeous.
Still gorgeous.
Still gorgeous. So I remember Mr. Meyer. But my favorite teacher of all time was Marcia Brown.
Yes.
She was my principles of business teacher in 4th and 5th form. And my dad taught her at Manning's. And she always said to me that I am a better student for her than she was for my father.
Okay.
And she encouraged me a lot those 2 years. She taught me for me and not for, sometimes I'll say, oh, Father Thomas' daughter. For me.
She saw you.
She saw me. And I appreciated that a lot because I went through, my dad taught at Manning's for 11 years
Aye.
before I went to Manning's. And a lot of my teachers, he taught them. So when they saw me, they saw my dad. And I had to be this perfect student because, I'm Father Thomas's daughter and you need to make sure you pass all your subjects and whatever.
All these expectations just put on you because of your dad.
So Marcia Brown, she really encouraged me a lot. And I had a business head because of my dad. My dad is a person too. So principles of business, and that would be my favorite subject also.
As well? Fascinating. What about your memories? What memories come to mind? When you think of Manning's and back in high school days, what memories make you laugh, make you smile and feel warm inside?
Walk up and down with your friends. When you're at Manning's, you always had that group of friends.
Yes. Who was in your crew?
My crew had Tamara Forrest and Sheena McGregor.
Okay.
Now Sheena Walton on Facebook. And then I think as we got to 5th form, because I repeated a form, and I'll tell you why I repeated 4th form. Then I had a different group of friends. So there was Jean Jackson, Keisha Jones, Diane Campbell, that was the group that, and the memories are having those friends. They were really genuine friends.
Understood.
And I also, another memory is being a 6th former. Even though I didn't want to go to 6th form, I enjoyed being able to just leave campus and go on the street to buy lunch. And all the privileges, skipping the line in the cafeteria, those things. I enjoyed that.
You did? We could not leave campus, so right now I'm just fire burn for you.
You know what? My gear group, my 6th group, when we got to upper 6, then that stopped. I think we were the ones that caused it because they said, this is the worst group of performers in Manning school history. And that's when it stopped. There were prefects who gave in their badges. I remember a couple, I won't call their names, but there were prefects who turned their badges in. And we just lost our privileges at that time, which wasn't a good thing. But
not a good thing at all.
Experience that there were consequences to,
their actions, and we and generations after have lost that privilege. Thank you very much.
Sorry. I apologize.
So we transition now into your personal growth and evolution. So we ask this question in terms of what words come to mind when you describe your personality back in high school, and what words would you use to describe yourself today?
All right, so I think in high school I was shy.
Yes.
A friend of mine keeps telling me, you were popular in high school. I don't think I was. I was not.
All right.
Yeah.
How about words to describe your personality today?
I think I'm more outgoing, more bubbly.
Yes.
I'm an investigator. I'm very inquisitive. I want to know what's going on. I've been told that I should be I should go work with FBI. But anyway, that's a part of my job. I teach my students to ask questions.
Be curious.
Yes, be inquisitive. And I was telling my daughter, because at her school was a IB, International Baccalaureate School, and they teach them they use the word inquisitive.
Yeah.
And, back home, people would say to be inquisitive is a bad thing.
Yes.
But being inquisitive, you're asking questions. If you're curious about something, you need to ask. and you need to speak up for yourself. And I think when I was younger, I probably didn't speak up for myself as much, you know, when people say, oh, you shouldn't ask too much. But now I encourage my daughter, ask questions, and I talk to her about everything that's going on. So I have changed in that respect. I am bubbly, I think. Anyway.
So still talking about your personal transformation and so now let's talk about your belief systems, the inner world, your inner thoughts. Was there something that you used to believe about yourself that has changed as you evolved through your experiences, that you now look at yourself or believe something different about you than you did before?
People used to tell me I was bad. Growing up, oh, she bad. But PK, you know what PK stand for?
No.
Preacher's kid.
Preacher's kid.
And I keep referring to my father, but let me tell you, it was hard growing up as a preacher's kid because, they put you in this big group to say all pass and picnic bad. So I kept hearing that growing up. She bad, she this, she cream her hair, she put in earring, she wear shorts, you know, those type of things. And as I got older, I think as I left Westmoreland and I went to Kingston, I mean, I didn't really talk about who my father was. And I wanted to be accepted as me. And I think I blossomed. But people still do it. I mean, to back home more than here.
Yeah.
They label children. And that's not a good thing, because if you keep telling somebody something about themselves, they're eventually going to believe that they really are. So I know that I'm not a bad person. I'm a good person.
Right.
So that belief changed as I moved away from home.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any other aspects of yourself or pieces of yourself that kind of blossomed as you kind of left home, you know, and ventured out?
I am me.
You are free to be.
When I was in Montego Bay, at Breeze's Montego Bay, as a public relations manager, I was in charge of a nightclub. Right?
Right.
I went to the nightclub and I would dance, you know, have a good time, have a glass of wine, have some Appleton and Pepsi, right?
Right.
And ginger ale.
Right.
I don't overdo anything. I don't overdo it.
Moderation.
Yeah. You know, things that people are like, you're drinking that? You're dancing?
Yeah.
You're listening to this type of music?
Uh-huh.
And I play a lot of music for my students.
But I'm going to go back to the reason why I ask about leaving where you're from. Mm-hmm. And it has happened to me in several places, right? So now when I go back home, because of Catchup, that has changed. Mm-hmm. But even when I go back home, they still remember you as that little Nackia, like that little child. Mm-hmm. And they put you in this box. I think 2 years of doing Catchup, they're seeing different sides of Nackia. But even when I started in corporate America and I started with one company, it was so hard, and I was in a training program, to break the mold for them not to see you as when you were is so hard. I had to leave that company, go somewhere else, and then the way how those people seeing you with fresh eyes, they see you so different. Mm-hmm. Right? And the potential and the opportunities are just so much more. And then here's the thing. And then the other company say, oh, but she was great. And I'm like, I was always great. So they recruited me back. And so it is a journey of where you grow up and where you're going through different seasons of maturity. When people see and witness those seasons, they can't let go of who you were.
And then I've held a lot of leadership positions, and then I asked myself, is this the little girl from Grange Hill?
You doing it to you.
Can you imagine me managing a 300-room hotel and being in charge.
Right?
Girl from Grange Hill. And my husband is from Grange Hill. My husband went to Manning, so we go through the same thing too.
Right?
Yeah.
So even you yourself have to allow yourself and give yourself permission to continue to grow and evolve and get new territory in your spaces, physical and spiritual and mental.
Mm-hmm.
So much. I'm so attuned to my thinking nowadays. I have so much limited thinking that I self-impose. No one else.
I do too, because I'm like, can I do that?
Yeah.
And you know what? My husband, he encourages me so much. He's like, yes, you can do it. You can do it.
That's awesome.
He really pushes me. He'll stay up with me at night to make sure I finish my assignments and things like that. Yeah.
That is awesome. It is so hard to find a spouse that supports you. From me, my husband is 18 years, so he didn't start out where he is today. It has been a journey. For him, when I said I want to do catch up, he's like, "What does this mean?" But so far, it's a growth. But he wasn't like that in the beginning. He didn't know how. He didn't have the model. There's so much things that wasn't modeled to us.
Yeah. And
so when you're thrust into this adult life, you're figuring out how to be.
Yeah.
And yes, I'm sure you know.
Share with you when I was doing my PhD. I was like, I can't do this. I'm not going to finish it. I'm just going to stop. I'm okay where I am. I don't need this PhD. And you know what? He spoke to my professor. My professor said to me, you need to finish this PhD so I can retire. And my husband spoke to my professor and said, listen, I'm going to do whatever it takes to help her to finish. And my professor said to me, your husband is more interested in you finishing this than you are. And he would drive me, because I had to go to Dallas February every June.
Yeah.
He drove me, and every time we go to Dallas for a couple of days, we would set aside one day that would have lunch or dinner with the professor. And, just getting encouragement from your spouse is really good. So I salute my husband. He is the reason why I finished, and I am a PhD holder.
And his name is? Can we say his name?
Desmond Bell.
Thank you, Mr. Bell.
Class
89?
Class of 89.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. So when you guys are choosing a partner and you're dating, make sure that you assess. People don't think about what's essential for somebody you can build with. That is a huge trait that is necessary if you're a woman that has big dreams.
And we were at Manning's together. When I was in first form,
yes.
And nobody knew that I knew him. He would just walk past. But we went to church together, so we got the connection at church, and my parents had a nice set of encyclopedias. So, the research in the encyclopedias. But when we were at school.
Understood. So what is it like married to somebody who's known you for so many years?
Okay.
Like?
Second marriage for both.
Understood.
We were friends, and we are friends. He's my best friend, and that is the key to any marriage. You want to be friends with the person. We sit down and we chat. Sometimes we sit down and we talk about things that happen at Manning's.
Yeah.
Things that happen at Grange Hill. We talk about, just love in action. Not that we hung out at Love in Action. He hung out with his friends. I hung out with mine. But we'd talk just memories of Manning's. And if you can just sit down and you have things in common to talk about, growing up in Grange Hill, going to church, Sunday school. He never missed Sunday school. He was on the junior choir and he couldn't sing. I was on the junior choir, so he was on the junior choir too.
That is awesome.
We lost touch for some years. And in those years that we lost touch, he got married. I got married.
Uh-huh.
Didn't work. And then somehow we reconnected. And there was no question asked.
Wow.
Got married. Nobody asked anybody. He has asked me he'd asked me 3 times when I was, I think, 19 to marry him. And my dad was like, oh, you're too young to get married. Then another time he asked, and my dad was like, oh, you need to make sure you finish your education before you get married. And the third time, I was like really mad with him for some reason. I'm like, And then this time nobody asked anybody. It just, you're like, okay, this is what we're going to do on this day. He called his grandma, I called my dad, and then 2 days later, we were Mr. and Mrs.
Wow. What has marriage taught you?
That was 11 years ago.
That's 11 years. So what has marriage taught you?
It has taught me we give each other space. He does his thing, I do my thing. We support each other in whatever we're doing. He's a mechanic. I mean, even though sometimes I get on top of him about so when he's working on his vehicles.
Yes.
He spends a long time, like hours upon hours. Like, okay, time to stop and go to bed. But then he does the same for me, because then I stay up and I'll be doing schoolwork a lot. Sometimes I'm at school on weekends.
Yeah.
Oh, it's time to come home. And then he'll send me a picture of the kids. Oh, they're calling you. They want you to come home now. So
thank you for sharing. All of that pathway that we just went on is not typical Catchup. All right, so back to Catchup. What advice would you give yourself in 1992 if you could spend time with that girl? What one thing would you tell her?
I would tell her to not listen to what people are saying about you. Do what you want. Pursue your passion.
Yeah.
My mom always told me, if your ship does not come in, swim out to it. And I would tell myself, my younger self, pursue what you want. When I was growing up, I wanted to be a journalist, broadcast journalist. And I would record myself. I would create some kind of news, and I would record myself reading the news. And I mean, it's what I wanted to do, but I would tell myself, oh, I don't think I can do it. But it was a passion. But no, I would tell myself, you need to push for what you want. So maybe I would be a broadcaster right now, maybe.
Never know.
Yeah.
All right. So the next question I have for you is a deep question, and the intention of that question is purposeful. The question I have is, walk us through one of your most challenging seasons and share what you learned the most about yourself by walking through that season.
Okay, challenging. Lost my first pregnancy. That was very challenging for both me and my husband. You know, you get pregnant, you're expecting a bundle of joy. You never think of, this was my first, so I'm not thinking of all the things that could happen. So it was very challenging when we were told that, it's not gonna happen. And my doctor was very supportive. It taught me to be strong. And that's the reason why people might say, oh, she had a baby. Because I don't broadcast any pregnancies that I've had because of that first pregnancy that I lost. So, like on Facebook, you'll see a baby, but you never saw a belly. So going through that, it was difficult. And for every other pregnancy that I've had after that, I was very careful, and it made me, I prayed a lot. I'm a praying person. It made me more, I don't know what word to use. I was very guarded, prayed a lot. I had a close circle, my parents, my husband's family, and, they helped us get through it. So it made me stronger. And that wasn't the only pregnancy that I've lost, so it was very hard for us.
Understood.
Yes.
I think there are several catch-up episodes that came before where others have shared a similar experience, and even one where by hearing somebody else on catch-up helped them through that season as well. So thank
So
you for sharing.
both my babies are rainbow babies. You know the term rainbow babies, right?
No, you have to tell me. I never assume.
Rainbow babies were born after a miscarriage. So I had a miscarriage, then I had my daughter, another miscarriage, then I had my son. So the term rainbow baby is the one that's born after you've had a miscarriage.
All right, so I have one rainbow baby. I didn't know. I did not know. Any advice you'd give to someone who is walking that season now? Who is still...
I'll tell people, just give yourself time before you share of course you're going to share with your family, but this is something that's private, that's personal.
Mm-hmm.
Take care of yourself. Diet is very important. And if it happens, if it happens that you lose, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
There's always another chance for you.
Yeah.
And don't blame yourself. It's not your fault, but things happen because, think of how our bodies are made, and for us to be able to carry a child, it's a miracle when you have a healthy baby. And thank God for a healthy baby. Not everybody has healthy babies. And there's probably a reason why the one that you're carrying or carried didn't make it. So I thought of all of those things. There's probably a reason why that baby didn't make it. So.
Thank you. Next question I have is, what is the best advice you ever received from someone else?
Okay, so from my parents, they encouraged me a lot, and especially my dad. My dad is he's a minister, he's a pastor, but he has this business side to him. I don't know where it came, but he's awesome when it comes on to business. And he even prepared me for accounting, CXC accounting, when I was in 4th form. Imagine that. Both of them, they always encourage me to, whatever I decide on doing, just do your best. Work hard at it. They always tell me, work hard at whatever you're doing. Remember your roots. Remember what you were taught as a child growing up. Think about ethics that were taught to you as a child. That will carry you all your life. That will carry you for the rest of your life. And when you think about Jamaican parents and the things that they teach us,
Yeah.
and coming to live in the United States, I came here by myself when I was 20-something. So lived on my own, bought my first house. I had to be independent. I went to school. I worked a couple jobs. So they always encouraged me, do your best. And remember to keep God in the middle of everything. God will carry you through. Keep praying and keep your focus on what you want.
Understood. So you mentioned, and you said it to your dad several times from the beginning of this episode, Has your relationship with him gone through seasons? And
No,
have you? Nope. It's the same.
my dad is the most down-to-earth person you will find. Yes, and people don't know that. They say, I mean, they'll probably know. A lot of people watching now might know my dad. Maybe he taught them
Yeah.
down to earth, earrings, makeup, whatever. He doesn't mind at all.
It
And
was other people imposing it in.
yes,
Oh, what? So I'm so happy I asked the question then. Because I had so much assumptions in my mind that are totally wrong.
I remember we were going somewhere and I put on shorts, and my mom was like, "Oh, those shorts are too short," and my dad was like, "No, it's fine." And we went on our way and did our thing. But he's very down to earth. He's easy to talk to. I call him for advice. I talk to him very often. It did not. It's just the outside force.
Outside.
On the outside are like, oh, this and that and whatever. But we have a very good relationship.
It's amazing. So I'm glad, and I'm sure my viewers, you will be happy too if you didn't know him, Mr. Thomas, the Reverend.
Father
The
Thomas.
Reverend. Eh?
Father Thomas. He taught
Father Thomas.
religious education at Manning's from
Before Mr. Anderson.
1975
Yeah.
1986. 1975 to 1986, Father Thomas taught religious education. And recently I said, why did you leave? I always thought, oh, his daughter was coming to Manning's, so it was time. But he said that, I mean, he was part-time because of course he had his full-time job.
Yeah.
And they wanted him to do full-time and he couldn't. So that's when he
left.
He's awesome.
What does success mean to you?
Success means so many things to me. How do I answer that question? I'm a teacher. I should be able to answer that question. Being able to do the things I want when I want without having to worry. Success as a teacher is seeing my students be successful. Then I know, okay, I've done my job. I've gotten them to where I want them to be or where they need to be.
Yes.
And I've always said, just the things that I see with my students at the end of the year, at the end of years, it's more than a paycheck. If I was working just for a paycheck, I probably wouldn't be a teacher. I'd go do something else. But it's amazing. I start off the year with students, and of course, I'm a very strict Jamaican teacher, and things are in place. Parents love me. And at the end of the year, I mean, the kids will be like, oh, I don't like her. But at the end of the year, they'll say to me, I enjoyed your class. I'm happy I was in your class. You helped me to pass my exams. Thank you, thank you. I get lots of thank you. Sometimes the kids will scribble a note and they'll hand it to me and walk away, But that's telling me that that's success.
That's success. You're making a difference.
Success on my part and success on their part.
You did a good job in answering. The last question for you in the official episode is, at the end of your life, what do you want people to remember about you?
So education is my focus. And I want people to remember the impact that I've had on them. Well, okay, let's say students. I'm going to put it in different categories. For my students, I want them to remember that I was a good teacher. For my friends, I want them to remember that was a very kind person. I love to support my friends in their ventures, encourage them.
Yeah.
Remember, oh, she was very supportive, very kind person. So
How do you want your kids to remember you?
but I was an awesome mom. We have a lot of fun.
Yes.
Yeah, we do have a lot of fun. So I'm the awesome mummy.
You're awesome, mommy.
Activities and
All right. Do you have any questions for me before we close?
I don't, but I want to tell you that you are doing an awesome job. I enjoy watching these episodes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. What made you change? What made you participate in Catchup?
You said change.
Yes, because I was interviewing Garth, and Garth said in the beginning he's like, and so I had to ask, what made you change? So now I'm asking you, what made you say yes when I asked you?
Okay, I don't know. I guess I don't have to fly somewhere, or I don't know.
And it's Zoom, and it's easy.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sitting in my classroom, my happy place.
Ah. I pray that because COVID blesses Catchup in that way, that because it's forced me to go do this via Zoom instead of in person, so we have a larger and more diverse participants in Catchup. We'll see.
And I'll send you some names of people you need to interview.
All right, thank you. I'd appreciate that. Hopefully you talked to them beforehand and said it wasn't too bad. Because some people's like, I don't know. And hopefully the experience isn't too bad, and you get to watch your video and get the edited version and approve it before anyone else.
Yes.
All right. With that, I'm going to close. That's okay?
Yes.
All right. Guys, thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Catch Up. And today we sat with Miss Dr. Christine Thomas Bell. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for participating. I appreciate it. I hope that you enjoyed the episode and you got one lesson for the road in life. Please share our videos. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and support our projects as we move forward. Have an absolutely fantastic week, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here and excited to catch up, actually.
Today's episode was brought to you by
Is your business registered? Need a loan but no business plan? MYO Biz Business Consulting Services, your one-stop shop for all business consulting needs, and MYO Biz Errand Runner Delivery Service. Need fast food or grocery delivered in Westmoreland? Call us at 798-6493. MYO Biz, it's our business to help you mind your own business.